we saw Mysca play this map, they beat Xenoflask. So this is obviously a map that Mysca are experienced with.
And hey, we started out exactly the same way as well. Lijiang Tower Garden is where we will open this one up. Of course, this was the map choice for Team Mysca, coming through in the upper brackets. That's the advantage they get. They don't get that 1-0, that sweet 1-0 advantage. Instead, they get to pick what map we start on. So they're feeling good about Lijiang. They might be feeling pretty spicy with that one, especially with the win earlier on today under their belt, I believe. No, did they win that one? Yeah, they won that. No, they didn't. Did they reverse sweep? I can't remember. It was so long ago. Who cares? It's in the past. Who cares about history? No one. Right.
But Zenith are also kind of strong on control. When we saw them back on Ilios against Bean, they had won, I think, 100-0, 2-0 on Ilios. But that's a different map, but still the overall control game type. Both teams are pretty strong at.
I mean, what I'm curious to see is, do we start, Pharmacy can work on this map. It's a little bit tougher. There's a lot more line of sight blocking. But do we go to Garden second? Because that's where you wanted Cuddlesworth to sort of show that, yeah, he's warmed up. He's ready for some vengeance. He's ready to come back into this one. Looks like they will be starting up with Pharmacies on both sides. Pure, I imagine, won't stick on this Lucio. We'll just speed boost and then, yes, the instantaneous swap and just try and fly to someone. There we go. Pure rejoins his team as the initial blows are traded.
Well, it looks like the fight will at least start to take place in the mid part of the map for Mysca, but it's Zenith that actually decide to rotate towards the point to start, and the Pharah just being on the side, getting power boosted, just trying to get some free rockets and break through the shield of Mysca.
Yeah, Tog's opting for this Winston is an interesting choice, but it seems to have worked out for them as they get a very early kill on God mode. It let them get to this point very quickly with this high agility sort of team comp. They bounced straight to it, managed to flip the point for themselves, and now they're going to be trying to hold this choke point as best as possible. It's very hard to actually push out of there with a Hanzo and a Pharah sort of keeping track of things, and Tog's occupying that high ground path as well. It's going to make this even tougher.
And what was interesting about that last fight is that the dive tanks decided to play the point, while as the death ball decided to play in the open area, which is kind of like the opposite usually. But already a quick pick for Mysca, and they could be moving towards the point. Just kidding. You get a pause.
Just a ramp.
Stopped, literally.
Just a ramp the tension up. Bubba with a early kill on Mistronimus. As headshot comes through. Blizzard apparently disconnected 2 people. So yeah, we've heard that Blizzard servers are having issues in the European servers, and we saw this previously. We were hoping that this was just gonna sort of go past, but this is very, very frustrating for not only the players but also for the teams. Having people disconnect also generally means they lose their ultimate charges and stuff like that as they reconnect. Hopefully that hasn't happened here, as it seems like everyone's still connected, but they're probably gonna vanish in a moment or two. But if they disconnected, then they're still in the game. They're in game. We are here apparently. I'm gonna just say cast ready to prompt other people to let us know if they're ready or not. As early advantage seems to go in the way of Xenoflask in this fight. Can they keep it going? Is the big question.
Is this Xenoflask? I thought it was Zenith. No, it is Xenoflask.
It's Xenoflask. Yes.
I'm drunk.
It happens. There's a lot of games.
Z thing. Xenoflask.
Yeah.
There you go. I will write that down. But yeah. Now I know what actual teams are playing. We get to get into the game.
Beautiful. All right, Panda with 2 very early kills. DMX the Diva and managed to get rid of Maple as well. The momentum certainly seems to be in favor of Xenoflask. They're getting vengeance certainly as they keep rocking on through. Well, flip the payload. It's not too big of a surprise if 2 people DC'd that they end up losing the fight, unfortunately. But at least they didn't fully DC. They keep a hold of these ultimate charges as well, and they could spring back in dramatic fashion. They have built up quite a war chest here.
Bubba is pretty close to the Dragon Strike, and if they can hold them long enough in this choke, that might have a lot of value. Unfortunately, the tanks from Xenoflask do get out, and they get that pick onto Mistrum, which I'm just going to say the short part of his name because it's complicated. But Xenoflask yes, they made it out of the choke, but didn't actually accomplish much.
Oh, Bubba continuing to find these arrows as well. And if you're in doubt, just call him Mist. I think Mist is easiest.
Misty?
Mist. Yeah, good old Misty Mist. Occasionally he missed as well. But anyway, right, yeah, poked out on the high ground, got picked off for his trouble there by Panda. And of course, if you are going to go on those flanks, you're not going to be able to get the res going. So Team Mysca caught off here and still being suppressed as they try and just force their way out. Togs just goes in with a very aggressive dive, does have his team backing him up though with that Valkyrie, but not before Cuddlesworth gets a very, very early kill. Togs is doing a great job. He's managed to isolate this Transcendence, meaning it doesn't do anything. But unfortunately, well, Bubba just cleans up regardless. They don't even need the Trance, and that very much went in their favor. They continue to hold this choke point. Xenoflask looking good.
Is it... No, I think I have the wrong teams here. Yeah, now I have my team switch, but okay, so that was unfortunate for Mysca. Now that I have my stuff sorted out, they wasted 3 ultimates in that last fight, and now you got a Graviton, Barrage, all the stuff going on. God Mode unfortunately dropped, so this is a go opportunity for Mysca.
Yeah, Maple almost blew himself up there with his own barrage. Sometimes happens with the fire, but has managed to stay alive and has been decisive as he blasts his way out and picks up a triple kill for himself. Cuddlesworth managing to at least get a little bit of vengeance, but does end up dropping out of the sky. Maple there with a huge Hail Mary play, just fires off the barrage, manages to catch the Zarya. She over-engages into her own Graviton Surge, and then just destroys Team Xenoflask. We can hear a Dragon Strike actually coming through as well, just slowing things down, isolating a couple of targets, manages to scoop up the Mercy and sets up the tanks for a couple of easy kills.
Wow, yeah, even catching that Mercy at the very back, and the tanks taken care of by Afera, so that's Mysca looking pretty good and close to taking a lead, 20% away. Looks like it's going to be a long one, but Xenoflask will be coming back with a few ultimates, mainly Earth Shatter, Barrage, Valkyrie probably to start off early. But we'll see how this goes. They're breaking through choke.
Yep, Valkyrie used just to push their way out. Apathy does have that Earth Shatter in his back pocket as well. That could be pivotal here as they only have to get past a Winston bubble. D-Bomb does get launched, but unfortunately doesn't find anything. There goes the Winston bubble. They want to get something done with this Earth Shatter, but Togs is just there putting the pressure on, and Apathy gets whittled down, taken out, and now Togs is going to continue harassing the back line while everyone else cleans up on the front. Please Enjoy Games jumps into the sky, gets himself a bit of a kill there. Transcendence gets used just to try and muscle onto the point, but it does get there at the very least. They do start contesting, but the tanks are just there to scoop this one up. Zen not going to be able to 5 versus 1, unfortunately.
Yeah, this will be over quite shortly, just running after the last couple kills that are left, and mainly just the tanks from Xenoflask that are left, but just something to improve on for Xenoflask in the upcoming maps is to give a little bit more backup, more resources to someone like Apathy as the final barrage, Dragon Strike. One last stall for Xenoflask, but Mysca should walk away with this first point.
Yep, we do see a Moira as well, just going to drag this one out even further. Bubba tries! Unfortunately, there's a damage amp rocket that he blinked right into, and that's going to put an end to this one at the very least. Gardens going the way of Team Mysca so far. It's kind of, it's what we expected. It's sort of the pattern that we've seen going forward is that it feels like Team Mysca are just that little bit sharper in the sort of the 1 versus 1, and it feels like Xenoflask sometimes they're a little bit rough at sort of figuring out that victory condition. Like, how are they going to win this team fight? Well, we have Apathy holding onto an Earth Shatter. Let's break the bubble and just Earth Shatter some people and win off that. But no one helped him. He was just there trying to smash a Winston bubble on his own, got isolated, and killed. And so they need to just get that sort of support, like you mentioned, that support, that teamwork, a little bit sharper.
Now, last time we saw Gardens, it was 100 to 40 in favor of Mysca. So one of their stronger points when it comes to Lijiang Tower. We're leaving out the doors with Defera Hanzo, while it's the start of Xenoflask running something quite different. Reinhardt, Zarya, Diva, triple tank with a Hanzo, but with a Moira instead of maybe like a Mercy.
It looks like they're going to muscle through that backside as well, just going all the way around the houses and straight onto the point, just trying to deny this fire some spam. But she's going to find a couple of angles at the very least. Maple already building up a nice chunk of ultimate charge so far, continuing just to put pressure on. A lot of focus going Maple's way, but he's going to drift away and feel quite safe here. Cuddlesworth getting zoned out, does get picked off. Chur taking a bit of a trip as well, apparently going into the digital koi pond below. I don't know if there's real koi or just virtual ones in there, but it looks like slowly but surely Team Mysca are going to muscle the way here onto this point.
So much pressure being put on the tanks of Xenoflask, and although they should have cleaned up the tanks for Mysca because I think the DPS for Mysca were a little bit separated initially, is Mistrum that really stepped up to the plate as Hanzo, and the first cap will go to Mysca.
Yeah, I mean, with this sort of quad tank comp, or with this tankier comp, it's going to be very difficult against a damage amped Pharah and a damage amped Hanzo. Like, Hanzo's damage output is insane when he lands all 6 of those Storm Arrows. Like, it will just tear people apart, and Mist already pretty much sitting on his Dragon Strike. It's going to make it even harder as they try and push through this choke point, but honestly, he can just shove this right down their throat, and it looks like he might want to do so. Rocket Barrage goes in, does get caught, but here comes the follow-up of the Dragon Strike.
Yeah, right in through the middle of the hallway, and not the greatest barrage from Maple. Transcendence to make it up, though, as a selfish strike behind, and oh my god, it finds 2! And even the Dragon Strike, what a dump of ultimates from Xenoflask, but at least they get the retake.
It took almost everything, but they managed to get the bigger bang combo working, just dumped a bomb and a grab in the same place, and next thing you know, you've won a team fight. did also manage to rob Team Mysca of a lot of their momentum as well. Maple's barrage was just a little bit too bold, and with a Diva on the enemy team, like, you can't just barrage into the entire enemy team. That's not going to go well for you, unfortunately. So Team Mysca, as they set up for this next push, they do launch in the Diva bomb. Let's see if they can get anything off the back of it.
Well, the self-destruct does start building space, and the Earth Shatter, though, with the sound barriers, Xenoflask starting off good. If they can get that kill onto Togs, and they do, but they also lose their main tank in the process, where Dragon Strike does cut right through the middle. Mistrum with the double kill. Like I said, this guy pops off as Hanzo. Mysca should be able to retake this one once they get the cleanups on the 2 remaining members.
Yeah, they got to be careful. Mist was on 2 hit points, but that's all he needed, apparently, as he does get the healing orb from the Zenyatta, but does also get a fire strike from Apathy. Apathy got to muscle his way onto the point, will start causing a couple of issues, but with the tanks there from Team Mysca just to clean things up, I imagine they're just going to squeeze out what percentage points they can. They just want to get that last little bit of juice out. There we go. And now the point should flip fairly soon. But no, there's the reinforcements. We've seen this before. There's the Mevin Deja Vu again from the first match.
Just kidding.
Still, yep, nope, denied. There we go. Bubba stalls out. Gets some.
The whole buffet here.
It's still, though, it's like it's been about 20%. The stall has given them like 20% from where they won the team fight, so it's actually managing to turn things around for them. God Mode going to throw himself off, probably just change up what he's going to be playing. Doesn't want to stick on that Tracer. We see a Reaper coming out. Actually, no, Widow popping out, just going to get a few cheeky shots. Looks like he wanted that Widow just to try and maybe slow down some of this fire play from Maple. And now back on the Tracer. It's crazy.
So, yeah, you trade the 20%, but you also trade 6 ultimates for now Mysca that have just been feeding onto Xenoflask. So starting off with the self-destruct, though, this is big. There's no shields. Should pick off the Pharmacy, and it does. What an advantage for Mysca going in. Do they even need to invest more ultimates after already getting 3 picks?
I don't think they do, and that's the power of that Diva Bomb. If you aren't aware, Diva Bomb is such a powerful counter to a Pharmacy combo. You wait for the Pharah to rocket boost. If the Mercy tries to even Guardian Angel to the Pharah, you just throw the Diva Bomb literally out where the Pharah is. It's so difficult to get out of the way of it. It takes out Pharmacies, no problem. Bish Bash Bosh, Bob's your uncle, and it's done. And now they have so much in the war chest, it's going to be a big task for Apathy to even reach the point here.
Xenoflask are still walking into 4 ultimates. Transcendence, though, does get triggered here from Luca going in. Dragon Strike going to be launched right into the point to stop Xenoflask from going in. Overtime in process. Barrage into the sky again from Mysca. We're investing everything, and it's paying off.
Yeah, Maple scoops himself up a kill onto that Diva at the very least, and now is contesting the point at the very least. We see the Transcendence, though, coming out from Panda, but that's honestly just buying a little bit of time. Rez manages to get God Mode back involved in the fight. Might just muscle his way back onto the point here. As Mr. Anonymous has swapped to the Desperation Doomfist to try and even this one out, but with God Mode actually chewing people up on the point, it could be enough here. Please enjoy game. Does drop the bomb. Gets Apathy at the very least. That Winston not going to be a part of this fight much longer. With Primal Rage on the horizon, that was a big kill. Managed to round it out, and there we go. Team Mysca go 1-0 up in the series.
No, not really much surprise to me, at least, after they had won Lijiang Tower last time. It's definitely their stronger map, but in the upcoming maps, I think we've already talked about giving more resources to Apathy and being careful where you're using these barrages. Yes, they can have a lot of value when, of course, you get picks with it, but if you get picked in the process and don't actually trade out a kill with that, I think it's actually Maple that did that mistake last time when he went into white and used a barrage into a Diva 6-people combo, but I'm excited to see how the upcoming maps are going to go since Mysca won this one. Xenoflask will have choice for second.
Yep, so they'll get to pick something that they want. Because it's specified, the map pools change slightly in what we run through. I'm not 100% sure on what maps they have available to them. I'm sure they'll be listed in a moment. It looks like they just have pure escort maps, I believe, to pick from. So going to be curious to see where they go. They could try Dorado again. We did see that out of them earlier. But if they do go to Dorado, like, my fear of going to Dorado is it could just be a repeat of what we saw in the first round, right? I mean, they won that technically, but it was very close. It was very, very close. And Team Mysca,
they had a 19-second difference in time banks between the two, but it was Mysca that walked away with that one. You're right.
Yes, I remember now. Yes. So yeah, Watch Point Gibraltar, it looks like, has been chosen.
Ooh,
so varying things up. Yeah, varying things up a little bit. And like, Gibraltar will play to their strengths. It's a decent-ish Pharmacy map, at least especially on like first and third. You can make it work there. I'll be curious to see if Widowmaker comes out, because like Gibraltar is generally all about those Widowmakers. So it's sort of, Widow's felt subdued throughout this entire tournament. She's popped up here and there, but hasn't really been as dominant as I would expect. So it's going to be a curious one to see how teams adapt around that, and if they do play that Widow, where do they play the Widow, and how do they use it? Who gets the advantage here going forward as well? Because Bubba's been doing all right with it, so this could be Xenoflask's chance to spring back.
And maybe another pocket pick that we haven't seen much of is Anna's on defense point A. Pretty strong, and even Soldiers we haven't seen actually at all. Pretty solid for point A defense to start on that long range. But Widows or Annas or Soldiers, I definitely am expecting the dives from both teams, at least on point A, unless they're going to be running Death Ball and just try to kind of brute force their way around with the payload.
I know Soldier's been having a tough time lately in the meta. Like with Brigitte, the armor just sort of nullifies a lot of what he can do. So maybe a McCree wrapped up in there or something like that. But like you said, Dive is also extremely likely. He's very, very popular here on Watch 20 Brawl. And we've seen Team Mysca, you know, they are very willing to run that dive. Mr. is no slouch on the Genji, certainly. And they certainly have been playing strong with the Tracer as well when they brought that one out. So it's certainly available to them. Going to be, again, just a matter of waiting and seeing what they decide to roll out. But welcome to Watch Point Gibraltar. It's going to be the first time we see it today. I don't know if it's playing in any of the other maps, but it's nice to get that variety, and it's nice to see Xenoflask going, maybe we should, you know, go somewhere else and just try and vary things up a bit. Maybe throw them off their game slightly. It depends on what Team Mysca have practiced, and I've heard from Mysca that they do have a couple of map weaknesses, but I don't know what they are, and I wouldn't reveal them even if I knew.
Leaks.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mysca on the offense to start, and obviously we're expecting a dive. We've already talked about that. Mistrum, he's been playing so much Hanzo and doing well on it. That would be a pretty solid pick to come out the doors with the Sonic Arrow, seeing what kind of defensive setup you're coming out the doors with. But he's hovering over the Pharah, and Maple's going to take over that Widow role where we saw him back on Anubis, sort of losing those Widow duels quite often to someone, I think it was Nico. But now if it's I don't think no, it's not going to be Apathy. Who's the sniper? Oh yeah, it's Bubba. Bubba versus Maple. I wouldn't know who would win most of those. I think it's pretty equal.
I'm also going to be curious to see if they do the fancier rollout that we've been seeing sort of pop up more and more and more in Watch Point Gibraltar. That makes me so very happy, which is you roll out with an Orisa, Roadhog, and a Hanzo, and you just try and halt someone out of that sort of high ground position and get a cheeky quick pick. Sometimes you even run an Anna to throw a sleep dart into that as well, and it's quite spicy, but I don't imagine they'll go for that fancy rollout, and even if they did, it looks like Xenoflask is just playing it safe and going to be holding fairly far back.
Cuddlesworth on that Genji. I'm excited for that. I don't think I've seen much of his Genji. He's just been like one-tricking Pharah like this whole tournament, and obviously paying off well, but maybe trying to pull out something that Mysca are not going to expect. But dive coming out the doors, Widow Pharah for them, and nothing too surprising comp-wise.
Yeah, Miss actually getting himself into quite a good position here on that Pharah. Will just rain those rockets down and manage to deposit a couple of them onto the enemy team. Bubba's going to try and shut him down as best as possible, and Miss knows that, yeah, he has to be very careful as a shot does connect, and the second shot does also connect, so Far taken out. Is Resable though, and they will just pick that one back up. Apathy tries to contest it, takes a lot of damage in doing so, and will just bounce back out safely.
They're able to catch God Mode out of position, so getting that demon was pretty big to start crumbling this defense. Tox gets really low, unfortunately couldn't get healed up in that case, but they at least say please enjoy game on the Diva. So I think Mysca will want to reset, they'll want to have Togs for these dives.
Yeah, they will be backing out. As Apathy even continuing the pressure, just trying to demech the Diva as best as possible. It looks like that's not going to happen. That's just going to start flowing that Mercy ult into Sealdoll's back pocket. There we go. Valkyrie is good to go. Mr. swapping up onto the Widowmaker. Very, very important on this. And you can see how much damage Bubba has done. He's already got Infrasight available to him, so we'll have an edge in any Widow versus Widow duels. Knows exactly where the rival is. He's looking for a couple of picks at the moment. Can't quite find anything as someone just comes around the corner. Doesn't quite find the shot. Does manage to at least dink the Diva. And, oh, there we go. Maple peeks twice and is punished for it.
Bubba's been getting some really important picks, not only forcing Mistrum to swap to a Widow, but now dealing with the rest. Even Apathy finishing off with a cheeky double kill, but Mysca are still looking for a solution to get this payload actually moving through Car Wash, or I don't know if you Europeans can maybe call it something different. It's called Car Wash, even though there's like zero water there.
Well, do you know why? I know why. I know why it's called Car Wash. It's a beta. It's a thing from like the Overwatch beta. It's when they used to have some, like, people used to play Symmetra one day long ago, and she used to put turrets on top, and so it looks like you're going through a car wash as you go through it because you got the little blue lasers, and that's why. So there you go, a little bit of Overwatch history with one amongst many, and well, ults are being committed as well. Cuddlesworth has drawn the Dragon Blade, but he's just being bounced out by the tanks, just forced away and killed, no problem. Apathy trying to sort of live that Winston magic as well, is just knocking people around. Will just bounce away from the Diva Bomb, so Diva Bomb not catching much of anything, really giving Team Mysca a little bit of breathing room here, and they need it, but can they get anything on the rebound is my big question, and I don't think they can really do too much here. As they're struggling forward, they are managing to get up the hill, but Apathy just keeps dropping on them, and Bubba just keeps shooting them, and it's working.
But they caught Panda in server room, which forced the Transcendence to try and save his own life, although Mysca now have to... look like half of them are resetting. Okay, yeah, there is a DMEC going on, so Mysca really struggling time bank wise, like minute and 20 left, and they had just used the, I think they just used the Dragon Blade, and now they only have really a Transcendence and Togs' Primal, which pretty stall wise, if they can win out the longer parts of the fight, it would be looking good for Mysca, but Xenoflask have been playing so solid, and I wouldn't be surprised if they full held point A.
Yeah, this is sort of Team Mysca falling into their bad habits, where it feels like they work very well when everyone's playing chaotic, but Xenoflask just aren't playing chaotically. They're playing normal, good, team-based Overwatch, and they're surviving because of it. Tox managed to isolate the Widowmaker at the very least, knocked her pretty much all the way back into spawn. A lot of pressure going on to Luke and Rico at the moment, but he will be healed up. Does have that Transcendence in his back pocket, as Panda, again, gets a very quick kill onto Maple, and that's going to shut down a lot of this DPS. Trance is being committed. They want to get something done as a Dragon Strike does come out, splits off some of the team at the very least, but Apathy's built up another Primal Rage. He's A-okay. He's fine. He's clearing space on the point, and Bubba is still killing people. He's just not stopped.
And finally they're going after God Mode, who had just earned the mech back. That's unfortunate. Yeah, Apathy like was right in the middle of that Dragon Strike and still survived to tell the tale with the Primal Rage. So maybe this payload will actually push to point A, not if Apathy has something to say about it, but they lose Bubba and Apathy gets low. Tur is out, so not a lot of healing going to Apathy. So Mysca have probably successfully gotten point A here.
Cuddlesworth draws out the Dragon Blade, though. He's got a lot to say about this one. Gets himself one, looking for even more. Diva Bomb goes up in the sky. Cuddlesworth does, man. No, doesn't manage to survive. It lands on the high ground and just blows him away. So we'll shut that one down at the very least. But counter Diva Bomb now on the point. Will get itself Tog. So Winston not going to be a part of this fight. His stalling power is gone. Rez does actually manage to come out, though. Silverdale scoops him up while God Mode was remacking. So they do manage to get the Winston back in the fight. The tank's now still on the point. Oh my god, so much damage onto Togs. So I think Bubba landed a headshot there. Maple's drawn out the Dragon Blade. He's looking for a couple of kills, but only finds Apathy, and honestly, well, that's just enough to put anybody down. Good lord, this is turning into a brawl, but it feels like Xenoflask are reinforcing faster, and as a result, they're getting the kills.
And it's all over. I can't believe I was right. Mysca don't manage to close out point A. Full hold for Xenoflask. And I want to also mention that Maple's Dragon Blade, if he would just, you know, you got a left, you got a right, tanks to the left, supports on the right. Go right. he went left, and that's when he ran into Apathy, who slapped him around. So just have to not only pick when you want to use the ultimate, but who you want to use it on. Have someone in your sights, at least, of who you want to use it on. So Mysca just struggled to not only go through Car Wash, but to actually execute the later parts of the fight, although they had the ultimate advantage going in.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I've heard coaches talk about, especially like, you know, if I've just, you know, occasionally you get a chance to talk to an Overwatch League coach, and one of the things that they mention that a lot of the community undervalues is the idea of vision and like scouting and space and knowledge. And it's stuff like that where it really does, you know, start showing up, where you don't know where the supports are, but you've Dragon Bladed. Well, you found the wrong targets, and you didn't manage to get the kills that you needed. You just found a Winston who shut you down effectively. And so that's going to make a big difference here, especially when you start getting to these higher level matches, where you start getting to these teams that have an average of like 4.3k. Like, scouting and information is going to be a very big deal, because those decisions you make, if you waste 1 second looking for a target, that could be the difference between getting a kill or getting bounced away. The enemy team's reacted, and it's all a-okay. So a bit of a failure for scouting there for Team Mysca. I'd also say, like, Team Mysca, it felt like they were just splitting up time and again. They lost that team synergy. People were going in, people were going out. It didn't look like they knew what they were doing, and it just felt like Bubble was just out in the back line, and eventually, like, Togs was full time on that Widowmaker, just trying to shut them down. But the supports were there for Bubba. They, like, Xenoflask were prepared for it, and it just felt clean out of Xenoflask. They didn't seem distracted or disoriented, and I smell cheese, by the way. Oh my god, is this the rollout? Is this the High Ground Bastion? This is the High Ground Bastion rollout.
But also, there's a Mei on the other side too, so there's two Meis. How many times do you get to see that in a match? But
do they make the jump? Mei doesn't make the jump.
Oh my god, they're going to the high ground.
Yep, it's a high ground strat. We actually first saw it in Scrim Central. It's beautiful to witness. God Mode at least gets one kill onto Mr. Anonymous as the Bastion just tears people apart. They've got him around the corner at the very least. Makes it very hard to contest high ground. Brigitte tried to get the stun there on the Bastion, but it's still not quite enough. Apathy charges out, gets himself a bunch of kills, and now, well, they have advantage. They have a Bastion set up in position. Very, very quick Shadow, though. Oh my god, comes out of Togs. Everyone clumps up. It's built up so quickly. And this could go either way.
This is not even over. I thought Xenoflask lost that, but Cuddlesworth actually came behind Mysca and was freezing like the supports and the Bastion, and no, sorry, not the Bastion, just freezing people from behind from Mysca. So that was such a crazy push, and okay, we're at least going to get another fight out of this. I know the yellow box of victory is there, but Mysca have now made some quick swaps. Maple not feeling the May, he's feeling the Junkrat.
I'm interested to see that they've stuck on the Brigitte. One thing I've heard from like people who play Bastion, believe it or not they exist, is that it's really, really good. But no, they just march through it. Beautifully done, actually. Really nice engage. So please enjoy the game. Sets up the tunnel, sets up the defense matrix. Togs just runs straight through it and just smashes the Bastion down. Good focus fire, good DPS. And now it's a case of can they control this momentum as the rally does come through as well. Mysterious leading from the front, charging forward, not really giving too many people that armor, but crucially he's giving Togs that armor. Almost goes down to a big burst of damage. It will be able to just back off and keep themselves alive. Have they done enough to win this fight? Who knows with these teams?
Well, a re-engage is soon to come in from Xenoflask, and Mysca countered this Bastion so well. All you have to do is press W and collapse on it. And that's exactly what they did. Earthshadow go to open things up, the disappearance of the Bastion, and disappearance of all of Xenoflask, to be honest, as Mysca win another fight.
Yeah, I do like and appreciate the relatively fast swap away from that Bastion. So Cuddlesworth has picked up the Pharah instead. It's going to be playing from the skies. And with the Junkrat on the enemy team, that is actually going to be quite potent. Maple is sitting currently, though, on that Riptide. Such a powerful ultimate. It's got something like a 70% success rate. It's ridiculous how good it is at finding a couple of kills. So when you have it, you're probably going to do well in a team fight. So big question is, can Maple land it? Can anyone shut it down? And I really don't think they'll be able to.
Oh, I thought that was going to find the Pharmacy, but yeah, pretty good counter to Junkrat as a fair, though. I expect Cuddlesworth to have a little bit more success, but a Riptire leading the way right through Car Wash, trying to come up from behind. It's gonna should have probably went after Bubba, but really quick trigger didn't do much to apathy there. There's a re-engage coming in from Xenoflask, Full Hog, and an Earth Shatter available for the offense. Here it is.
Yep, there goes the Ursula. A crucial early kill on Mercy as well is going to really put the pressure on Team Mysca. Cuddlesworth is just going in over the top as well, taking ground and taking space for his team uncontested right now. There's pretty much one last gasp available for them. Tog's going to lead the charge, start advancing forward towards this point. The golden parking space of victory is right there, but Team Mysca, they've showed in the past when their back's against the wall, it can go really well. Desperation Doofus is joining us, ladies and gentlemen, and is carried straight out and crushed against the wall. Does survive, though, because Brigitte is a thing in the game.
Versus Reinhardt, one has a little bit more health than the other.
Oh!
Look at this barrage Cuddlesworth from the top, and unfortunately could have gotten that pick on the silver. He does finish him off as a whole hog finally comes out from God, and that will be it. Xenoflask lead, or actually even up to Series 1-1.
Yeah, 1-1. It definitely felt comfortable here on Gibraltar. Team Mysca looked a little bit lost. Not going to lie, Togs scoops up player of the game for himself on the Reinhardt. I imagine this is the Earth Shadow. Yes, as everyone is funneled in by the payload. Shield drops for a moment, and then all that spicy damage as well. The Earth Shadows that dreams are made of, ladies and gentlemen. Togs leading from the front. Feels pretty good, man, for him, but, well, it's kind of a rough map for Team Mysca. They looked really shaky, like surprisingly shaky there. So maybe they haven't practiced too much, but silver lining, their map choice next.
Yeah, I guess their map choice paid off, and very surprised Mysca got full health there on point A. It's not too often that you see an offense dwindle away, especially in these higher SR games, and usually it always goes to extra innings, but we will go into map 3, where even up the series, I guess this will be Mysca's choice, and I wonder what they're going to go with. I don't know what game type. Oh, an assault map.
Ooh.
What could they go with?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Hanamura or Temple of Anubis available to them. I mean, considering the Temple of Anubis we saw earlier, I would be very surprised if they opt for Hanamura. Yes, Temple of Anubis comes out pretty much instantly, and so we will be going back to the sunny sands of Egypt. And honestly, like, I don't blame them. They had such a strong performance earlier on this map that I'm feeling confident for Team Mysca.
And also that Xenoflask played Anubis as well against Zenith and had actually won 2-1. So they both have won on Anubis. And Xeno also had like 5 minutes and 14 on their first run. So it's hard to say like who's the stronger team going into this one when they play like different teams. But both experienced.
Now entering the Temple of Anubis.
Definitely sort of, and also like, especially for Xenoflask, and this is something that I've noticed in Scrim Central, right, which is always an interesting thing. So the team that goes through the upper brackets has a bit of a break and has a bit of a breather, and you might think that gives them this huge advantage, that, they can relax a little bit, watch the enemy team, stuff like that. But what's actually happened traditionally in the past is the team that goes through the lower brackets, because they've been playing, they come into this game warmed up, they come in hungry, and sometimes they will just, like, you know, the team that's taken a break look a little bit cold and look a little bit shaky. Now, they looked great on the control map, but the team play just wasn't there for them when it mattered on that payload map. Now it's 2CP, the team play matters even more, and hopefully Team Mysca can work out those kinks, get everyone playing on the same page, because if they do, then maybe we'll see another shutout. Otherwise, you know, the moment that people start playing a little bit too independently, playing on their own, it's so punishable, and I guarantee Xenoflask are the kind of team that will punish it.
Mysca will start on the offense to start, and they'll be sort of setting the pace of how much time Xenoflask would have to beat on their turn. But hard to say what we could expect composition-wise. We've seen all kinds of things from Doomfist to Pharahs to McCree's to Tracers, everything. But I'll ignore Mysca for now because they're going to troll me. They're going to debate me till the doors open. So let's look at Xenoflask. And I'd like to see a Sombra. I remember when Sombra used to be such a heavy pick for Anubis, and Bubba looks like he's going to switch out. Damn it.
Yeah, it's changed too much, unfortunately. I will say that I think the Talon comp on offense, the Reaper Sombra, it's probably not horrible, but with Brigitte involved and the possibility of bringing that out,
I haven't seen Brigitte in so long, so that's why I'm like, come on.
The issue is if they run
Play it,
Sombra,
you cowards.
Yeah, play Symmetry, you cowards.
You cowards.
Yeah.
Yes.
But no, I wish.
Names.
I'm looking forward to the revamp. It's gonna blow the game wide open. I'm so excited for that. Anyway, but yeah, once they run the Sombra, like you just bring up Brigitte, the armor just nullifies everything that she can do. That the SMG is already a pea shooter, it becomes even more of one, and you just stun her up.
Well, it's a pretty large clip for a pea shooter.
But there's still peas coming out of it. It's
lots of peas.
Exactly, more peas than you can handle. As well, we do actually see the team running this Orisa Roadhog comp once again, and going up against something of a dive comp. Mr. running that Doomfist once more. Seems to be favouring it here on Temple of Anubis. Looks like the team wants to try and go through the high ground, but Bubba, with a flank, just pops up and, well, pops Maple's head off by the looks of things.
I don't think this Doomfist is going to have a fun time. Not only are you going to get a headshot by Bubba, but you can get hooked as soon as you dive in from Gods. So kind of a anti-Doomfist character in that way, but he'll still find some success for now, just trying to stay along with his tanks that can peel for him.
Yeah, manages to get the punch on Orisa, but of course Orisa was built to destroy Doomfist and built to counter him. Mr. Amos almost tries to set up a jump onto Bubba, doesn't quite get the reach, and God Mode just shuts him down as well, puts an end to that one. Blind insert Bubba's Widowmaker. Bubba's Widowmaker was huge on Gibraltar, and it's no surprise to see it being huge here. They need to do something to slow this one down to counter this, and I don't think the Doomfist is quite managing to do just that. We'll see if they do decide to change it up, though, as they get ready for the next push.
Yeah, Mistrum does swap off that Doomfist pretty quickly to the Hanzo, his signature pick. And Maple on that Genji. I'm kind of surprised he's not playing Widow, to be honest, because Bubba's kind of wrecking them on the Widow on the other side, and Maple has always been having that job of contesting the other Widow. So, well, I guess he's trying to work towards the Dragon Blade, but not working out so far.
Yeah, it's also the ball and chain combo is paying off. Orisa sets up the ball and Hog, well, he provides the chain as you just pull people around that corner over and over again. Togs takes a quick peek, but Bubba rewards him with a bap on the nose there with a fine bullet from the Widow's Kiss as they do start pushing their way around. The Hog's just going to engage directly by the looks of things, just pushing to the tanks, and it pays off actually as they get God Mode of all things with that initial push. Burst damage, just destroying a Roadhog, not something you see every day, and now Apathy in a lot of trouble, taking these Hanzo arrows to the head, does get drilled down there by the Diva, and Team Mysca just blowing their way forward with a dive onto a comp that you generally don't want to dive.
Well, they do get at least one resurrect, but the picks are still going through for Mysca, so this is a one fight, and they did exactly right on their offense of just collapsing on them with a dive. And Maple now has a Dragon Blade available for the next fight, and even a Transcendence to keep him up, and a Dragon Strike. So lots of tools available for Mysca, and they can actually blow this one open on point B if they wanted to.
Bubba swapping things up, does opt for that Reaper instead, so they want to deal with stuff at close range. Mr. Amos does get punished for a bit of a picaroni, will just get his head blown off with an arrow, unfortunately. I wish we had replays, like I wish we had something available. I want to know how God Mode died in that initial dive, because it's very unusual to see a Roadhog dive first, especially to a comp without that much burst damage. There's no Widow headshot, nothing like that. It was just probably the Hanzo, but even then, you can sort of huff your paint can, you got an Orisa shield, you should be A-okay.
You say huff a paint can?
Yes, that's what he does. He huffs his paint can. Oh, ball and chain! Gets us in!
Oh, Mysca is going towards the left. Now they're diving towards the
again!
Dragon Strike right through the middle. It's actually to the right side. It separates the supports, but actually Transcendence Panda joins the party as a Dragon Strike. There's so many ultimates going on. Huge investment here from Mysca.
Yeah, massive investments from both sides. Maple shuts down Apathy as well. He's building up quite a lot of damage for himself. Dodges out Bubba as well, managing to survive. God Mode has been brought back to the fight. has sort of resurrected. It didn't take 3 days, apparently. Does bring about whole hogs through the point and manages to buy his team a little bit of space. Maple still causing a lot of problems though, but is only on 32 hit points. Has to be very, very careful. A lot of space being made as well by Togs, using that Primal Rice, just blowing things wide open for his team. But as the respawns come through, yes, there we go. Apathy. This is going to be the cleanup crew here on the Winston, and they do manage to win it out. But man, God mode, you got to stop dying first. You're a road dog.
Well, he actually made it up for stalling the crap out of that point B, who was getting not only Mercy Pocket, but getting a Moira healing him up, and he has Take a Breather, so I feel like with all those resources, Godmode can buy so much time on point B, and this allowed Apathy to get back, which, speaking of Apathy, now is on to the Reinhardt.
It looks like they've swatted out that the enemy team have done a number of swaps. Bubba going to say it on this Reaver as well, as Maple does pick up the Brigitte. Has to be very careful when he uses that Death Blossom. It is very easy to get stunned out of it, but if you can land it, well, it will be pretty decisive here. Wouldn't mind seeing a Junkrat instead. Reaper can be a little bit shaky against a very heavy support-oriented team. It's actually quite difficult to land some of these kills. Dragon Strike, though, very nicely angled from Cuddlesworth, just decimates the team.
Right through the choke to get the triple kill. Exactly what they needed. Just a small investment of ultimates. And now staggering Baby Diva. Is this going to be like... Never mind. But not only that, Bubba has to deal with Brigitte, but also Please Enjoy Game can just matrix a lot of that. So he's going to have to be careful on when he uses that.
And the Diva stagger does finally come to an end. Togs gets caught as well with his shield down, pulled in by that Roadhog. They're going to force this engagement to begin as Reaper and Roadhog just going to bully Togs back. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is so isolated as well, as this Reinhardt's struggling to make his way out. Does have to charge back to the rest of the team. This is going to give Diva time at least to regroup with them, so it stops them pushing in 5 versus 6. But so many ultimates here on this defense. It's going to be tough.
Support ultimates, you got DPS ultimates, you have so much available in Mysca. We've seen them with 5 ultimates and still lose a fight, but Self-Destruct sent in to start. It gets a double kill, mainly a kill onto Turret. Forces a Transcendence from the defense as a Death Blossom is just going to get collapsed on. Mysca walk away with 1 tick and possibly could be the whole map. They just have to control the choke points.
Yeah, that was what we call an Alpha Strike, ladies and gentlemen. They went in super hard with that, used the Diva Bomb, very nicely angled, sort of caught it on the pillars every so often, but that just slowed it down enough to dump it right where it needs to go, and just set them up perfectly. And with a Dragon Strike as well, like where do you go? One place is 2 Angry Spirit Dragons, one place is an exploding mech. The rest has Team Mysca there just waiting to scoop everybody up. Very, very sort of high investment play, but definitely paid off for them and left them with 2 minutes 16 left in the time bank. So quite nicely done by Xenoflask at the very least to sort of slow this one down. At least we're not seeing like a first point shutout that we saw earlier on today from Team Mysca. But not the greatest, not quite what we expected out of Team Mysca. Maybe staying on a couple of shaky strats a little bit too long.
Well, they got point A within, I believe, the first, or maybe, I think it was like the second or maybe third fight. But
it was
very
about the third.
Quickly, yeah, once they collapsed onto, I think it was the Roadhog, that everything just fell their way. And then they had so much time to get point B. I felt like it still took them a very long time despite having multiple rounds of full ultimates. But Xenoflask, though, will have to actually complete the map, and a bit worried if they're able to do that. But at least they'll have to also focus on having a decent time bank with that.
I mean, the thing with Xenoflask, at least, is we know that they're not afraid of just run. Like, with this much time in the bank, you know that you can probably get away with running Zarya Hanzo. And you can just wait for Graviton Surges and claw your way forward. It's going to take about 2 minutes, 2 minutes 30 to build up these gravs. But when you do, well, that's just going to give you enough time to actually complete this one out with a little bit of extra time in the bank. So they have that option available to them, but they will be running into triple support. And triple support can endure through those Graviton Surge combos. There is just enough healing to sort of prop up the Zenyatta Transcendence and make it survivable. That said, no Widowmaker here on first point Temple of Anubis. Makes me a bit sad. Bubba's going to bring it out. There we go. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Maple still hasn't brought it out, and that's something I pointed out last map that I thought he would be like contesting him more. And actually, Mistrum's not even playing Hanzo, which I think that was his job last time. So no snipers makes me pretty worried against Bubba.
Yep, I mean, Widowmaker is best girl. Should have all the space that she could ever want, and it looks like she's going to get just that, as who's going to be contesting Bubba on this high ground. They're going to try and leave it perhaps to Togs and Please Enjoy Game on that Diva, but that splits your tanks off from a team that otherwise, might need that tanky protection as well, especially with a Brigitte involved. Maple taking a couple of bullets to the back, does survive. Togs jumps up to that high ground, but there's the peel and just gets punished for it straight away. You bait the trap with the Widowmaker, and, well, the rest of it falls all into place. Has to be careful. Zenyatta's balls are quite dangerous and does manage to duck away, gets the healing he needs, and, well, now everything isn't going Xenoflask's way.
And they didn't really even fully reset. And I like that Mysca, the way that they played around the Widowmaker was just stay out of her sightlines. Bubba hasn't had crazy impact, and now he just goes down. Apathy is low. Self-destruct here from Mysca, as the offense hasn't completely fully disengaged yet.
Yeah, it looks like they want to keep this one going as long as possible. Togs has managed to rejoin the fight at the very least, but right into Diva and just gets isolated once more, but still surviving this time, crucially. So he will manage to stay alive. Eventually goes down to God mode. Does get finished up there as the rally does come out on the defense as well. That's going to provide everyone with that little bit of extra health. Now they're going to start muscling the way to the point. Lucian Rico in a lot of trouble. Forces the Transcendence out nice and early as, well, looks like God mode going to get DMX'd on the point here. It's a bit of a brawl on the point, but with all these supports, Team Mysca should be okay unless this Dragon Blade can make all the difference. But no, Brigitta's here. No fun allowed.
And a Transcendence to counter that Dragon Blade that just came out. And Xenoflask spent so much time trying to outlast Mysca and even swap to a Fair, which I agree is a pretty solid swap when you don't really have much from the side of Mysca that can deal with that. But now it's several minutes burned on the clock, and now only 2 remain.
So, managing this sort of relatively unique hole. Bubba on that far, though, could blow this wide open. Like you mentioned, there's not too much that can stop it. Missed. Going to deploy the rally, give everyone a spot of armor just out of combat, so everyone's just nice and primed. Bubba could be trying to strip that away, though, with these long-range rockets. If he lands a couple of them, could cause some issues. They do start rolling forward here. They almost have that barrage, actually. Bubba's been doing a really good job building that up nice and quickly. He missed. Going to just try and zone them out just a touch here. Togs, again, has to be so careful. Does have Primal Rage, so that will buy him a moment or two. His engagement is joined, and God Mode gets DMX pretty quickly.
Xenoflask are kind of spread all over the place. Bubba is pretty frontlining. You got some tanks towards the right, some supports at the back that are unprotected. Cuddlesworth will be there as the Hanzo to try and protect them. But another messy push from Xenoflask will result in another minute burn. And what ultimates have they really produced out of that? A barrage and a primal? Maybe even a Dragon Strike coming up. So this could still work for Xenoflask, but at a disadvantage time-wise already.
Yeah, it's going to be tougher, and like this is why I would like to see them stay on that Zarya. It gives them such a concrete win condition that you just sort of set up and get a kill or two. Like you don't need that many kills to actually make it work. So it's surprising to see that they opted instead for that Diva. When you're going up against a team that isn't running, you know, a Widow or a Pharah or anything like that, instead just going to try and muscle down Togs as much as possible. But killing Togs is one thing, you just need to kill the rest of the team. Looks like they're going to go for it though, as Valkyrie has been used. Dragon Strike comes out and will try and zone through the point. Maple jumps into it to try and deflect it, but doesn't work out for him. It doesn't catch those arrows. And, well, pause. Right at a critical time as well.
Apathy like dove on the top left high ground and hasn't moved in 30 seconds. I was like, this is an interesting strategy, but I think he might have DC'd. Yeah, there he is.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That is so unfortunate for this offensive.
Too.
Oh, this is so frustrating. This is... It makes me sad. I'm sure it makes the viewers sad. It makes the players sad as well, as Apathy does drop out. It's going to be so crucial for this offensive. Was so tanky as well. With the early kill on Maple, it set them up so nicely for this fight. It's going to be that much harder as the Winston will, because he's disconnected from the server, sort of be sent back to spawn, lose all of that ult charge as well, lose that Primal Rage. It's going to make this push quite difficult. On the silver lining, they did at least get Lucian Rico's Transcendence, but only 30 seconds left. They really need to sort of just storm the point.
Well, at least they got that pick on a Maple, who just about got that Dragon Blade, so... But now it's kind of a 5v5, so Xenoflask would have to go into this one kind of relying on Bubba, and also having, hopefully, Panda having a Transcendence, and that would save them in the later parts of that fight. But then you have Togs, who has a Primal, so then when that Transcendence comes out, then an equal stall comes out from Mysca. So in this scenario, it looks like Mysca have a pretty big advantage now that what's-his-face is gone, so...
Yeah, it's tough, and I can see Silverdale, like I'm currently locked onto Ture and listening to the wonderful sounds of Mercy's Valkyrie, and Silverdale is currently dashing to Maple's corpse as well. I don't think that res is going to get contested at all, so Maple should be rejoining the fight, I imagine, and will have a Dragon Blade. It's going to be tough. I will say that, you know, on the bright side, it's like Team Mysca, even if, you know, you watch this on paper and they still had the Winston, they have not got many resources. Like, Xenoflask is just kind of burned out of resources. Meanwhile, there's quite a lot coming online for Team Mysca, so could go either way so far. Hopefully, Apathy comes back, though. Apparently, he hasn't said anything on Discord either, so we'll see. They have 5 minutes to let him reconnect, so there's plenty of time for it.
Feels bad. Yeah. Kind of a tough one, but then you kind of go down 2-1 in the series, so wouldn't be too bad for Xenoflask in this situation. It is a best of 5, so you still got one more map to go. It's not like this would be like the final 3-1 or something, but
yeah,
it's just unfortunate.
It's rough. It's really rough, and like, you know, this happens occasionally, and like, this is a reality of online tournaments. But I always hate having to give this speech of like, well, when you're playing online, people can disconnect, and this can happen, and it's really rough. Apparently, he's back on Discord. Hopefully, we'll be rejoining the game as soon as humanly possible. We want to watch the game. We don't want to be rambling for ages as well, but we want to watch fair games as well. And these two teams have been playing really high caliber throughout this tournament, so it'll be really disappointing to have it being decided by disconnects and things like that. Otherwise, it looks like he's back in, so he should just be on the loading screen. We have one more fight, pretty much. 30 seconds left on the clock. It's going to be a 5 versus 5, but Silverdale looks ready for the res, so it could go either way here. Teams should be readying up in a couple of moments. It's going to be interesting to see, is, you know, they do have time at least to decide what they're going to do. Will Xenoflask just back off and maybe, you know, try and regroup, or will they just go heavily in this fight?
So many answers, so many questions, but still missing apathy. Several minutes will go by, but
he should be. So the way that it works if you are reconnecting to a game is you sort of get stuck on the loading screen until unpause happens, then you'll suddenly pop into the game. So it looks like we are ready to go, apathy. Yeah, it's unfortunate, and it's unfortunate that I know that's how it works, because this does happen every so often. But looks like, yes, looks like they're trying to regroup, but they've got to be careful. Bubba's actually sort of caught out in the open here, and if he dies, then yeah, this is going to be an even rougher push. Apathy's managed to rejoin the team nice and quick. Nice advantage of that, so they even get a DMAC on actually on Please Enjoy a Game, so this could be just what they needed, as Bubba is holding on at the moment to that barrage. Maple draws the Dragon Blade, but Trounce is just there to counter it out, and he's going to have a hard time finding any targets here. They make their way to the point. So much to fight for still.
Oh, Apathy's like the only one left, and actually 60% on his Primal, even though he had started with 0 at the start, but he's got his Diva by his side. Well, not for long, and actually Xenoflask will be gone. And it's unfortunate Bubba got like picked like that and rezzed, and then like they had lost Cuddlesworth soon after that, so missing a lot of damage. Mysca will be taking Anubis and lead the series 2-1.
Team Mysca clearly fearsome here on Temple of Anubis, managing a second first point hold, and looked solid while doing it. I was hoping so much that Bubba would find that primal race. This is the Diva Bomb. It's an interesting position to put it, but it's just perfectly parked, lands exactly where you want it, where people are going to run and hide, and the Dragon Strike's even there just to sort of zone them out even further. And then, well, yeah, that feels rough as the Reaper, when you're surrounded by all the tanks and a Diva just eating up every bit of damage.
So I'd assume the next game type would be hybrid, but I could be wrong. Hybrid,
yep.
Oh, I guessed it right. So what hybrid maps have we seen? Numbani. I'll have to look through my notes. Numbani, I think is that it? Eichenwald. So
yeah, Eichenwald or Numbani. So they have a hybrid map available to them, and yeah, should be a like Xenoflask needs to spring back. Ooh, did they?
Yeah, last time they faced each other as Xenoflask
they did.
versus Mysca. Yeah. Thank God for notes, because I have no brain right now. But Xenoflask did win Eichenwald last time. And Numbani, nope. Yeah, other than that, that's the only hybrid map they played.
Yeah, no, it should be, because they just played a best of 3. But Team Mysca, I mean, they did have a very, very good hold against, I think it was Zenith here on Eichenwald as well, so they might be feeling pretty warmed up on it.
Well, actually, both of them have won Eichenwald against Zenith, but
yep.
That too. So, obviously strong, but Xenoflask just slightly favored coming up. And they kind of need that, being down 2-1. This would be sending us to a Game 5 in that case.
We go in the distance. Wouldn't be surprising for today's tournament as well. It has been quite a long one. It's a marathon. But hopefully you've been enjoying it. I've certainly been enjoying the casting so far with you. And yeah, like, welcome to Scrim Central. Sometimes it can be a little bit one-sided, but sometimes you get these amazing matches, and this is why I'm so happy with this community, because sometimes you get some really, really close games, and it feels like, you know, even though Team Mysca did a full hold and we've had a full hold in Gibraltar, it's been back and forth, and I love that. I love that so much.
Eichenwald looks like it will be the choice, too.
Yep.
Well, I think this would be a map that suits both teams, to be honest. Like Pharah's, Widows, Junkrats we've seen from either teams. Even a bit of Brigitte, but that would only be spicy for the point take.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is where we also saw Apathy bring up that initial Orisa pick and had a really tough time with it, with Togs just sort of running them down. So I'm curious to see if Xenoflask change up that strategy at all. There we go. We are loading into Eichenwald. I'm hoping that this goes the distance, because it's been a great series between these two teams. It's been a little bit messy. We've seen a full hold in Gibraltar. We've seen a full hold on Temple of Anubis. It could go either way. It just depends on who's firing off who's firing off at all, I suppose, going into this one. But Cuddlesworth definitely proven himself on this map before. Can he do it again here on the defense? Will he roll out that Farah? I don't think he's going to roll out the Torpy on the
I think last time he ran Farah and he just like rolled through the other team. He was so good. I think wasn't he the one that got that like quad or quintuple kill with the Orisa hold?
That was against Zenith, yes.
Yeah, that was some spicy plays.
Yeah, that was beautiful to behold. So, hoping to see that coming out of Cuddlesworth once more. Or the Torp could work as well. But I imagine he's just gonna, he's taking a bit of a tumble. There we go. And Panda.
Like Dallas Fuel did that. Just like jumped off the map on stream. That was funny.
Bless him. Panda just dodges the death though. He's having none of this nonsense. This is the substitute. Just what are you guys doing? What are you up to? I'm here in serious mode. Yeah, I've got this, boys. I watched Yonak. I know how to do this. I'm gonna kill them all.
Oh god, that's aggressive.
But otherwise, yeah, it looks like Cuddlesworth will be running the Farah. It looks like they want to try and get something done similar that they had before. God Mode also running the Roadhog, so pick-based comp here. They want to send out the Halt, set up the ball and chain, and then hook them right back in. Should be good. Meanwhile, on the offense, looks like this actually looks like a serious team comp, so I'm going to say that they're going to stick with this one. As they're running this Farah Hanzo once again.
And also that they're running a Zarya instead of a Roadhog, so they'll have actually the Graviton Dragon Strike combination available to them eventually. But not sure about this Roadhog comp. I know God Mode is very good with it, but I still like the Zarya sort of comps. But Mysca will be moving on forward, but Cuddlesworth getting some free rockets in.
And a big spicy hook comes in there, catches Luke and Rico. I mean, this is the advantage that Roadhog gives you. It's much harder for Togs just to try and run down that Orisa because you're running into that Roadhog spam. The barrier's going to die that much faster. Beautiful hook comes out as well, gets that exit kill on Please Enjoy Game. And that's going to slow down this area that little bit more. So a nice start coming out from Xenoflask here so far. Not too many kills on either side. And Cuddlesworth been a little bit quiet, has managed to build up a considerable amount of ult charge, however, 50% compared to Maple's 21, so Maple forcing the back foot at the moment.
Well, they're just trying to find an angle to go on. Do they go left? Do they go right? And they also have to worry about Cuddlesworth, who's now picked up the Hanzo again. Mistrum having a hard time.
Oh, they denied it.
Even landing his shots against him, but Maple trying to contest him, but actually focusing more on trying to break the shield so Mysca can move forward.
Cuddlesworth did something so good there. Silverdale went in for the res, but got concussive blasted away from the res, so it just cancelled it. Ate the cooldown, no results off the back of it. Now Cuddlesworth is taking that initiative as well into his back pocket, just advancing forward, getting all the kills he needs, just forcing him to run into the spam that is going to be the Farah damage, the Roadhog damage, the Zenyatta damage as well. And it's proving very, very difficult to actually break this choke point.
And Tog's having a hard time. He has to regenerate his shield. He's getting so much spam damage from not only Cuddlesworth, but Bubba. And now so many ultimates online here for Xenoflask, and 30% still away for Mysca to work on that Graviton.
So they managed to make their way around the tower at the very least. Going to start pushing this one forward. Trance being used to cover a res. Silverdale going to pick Togs back up, so he's rejoined the fight. Cuddlesworth goes down as well to Mr. arrows, and that's going to be a pivotal kill here. Dragon Strike even being used, I think, to cancel out any res. Make sure that they can't get that going, as the Mercy does end up dropping. Earthshatter on the point as well, going to catch a couple of people there, and Togs going to be the one to clean this up. No, Maple actually going to be the one to get his name plastered all over the kill feed there, as they do around out here on first point. God Mode dumps the ultimate, probably not going to be staying on that Roadhog here.
Yeah, switching to the full dive. Apathy already starts the way with the Winston. Bubba going to the Widow, so want to focus that high ground sniper control. God Mode to the Diva, as you called it. But Mysca didn't even have to use the Graviton from Please Enjoy Game. They had to use the Dragon Strike that kind of weirdly placed, but Mistrum will have it again in just 30%, but Maple catches them off guard already with one and does get punished for it though.
Oh, that's actually a little bit rough, as you know, one will be res and one probably won't be picked back up. Although it looks like they want to try and do it. Perhaps they put the Graviton Surge in, and everyone Tox just has a pinata to swing at. There's nothing there to stop him, and he just goes in and takes everybody down. Enjoy your free Earthshatter, sir. You just used one, but you got one back in. Like, speaking of ults, Mist has built up a Dragon Strike again in pretty incredible time. He's got 82% and could probably start putting some pressure on him. Staying on the point for now, though. I'd like to see Team Mysca just advancing forward a bit, controlling those doors a little bit more, but it looks like they're just content to sit back.
Looks like Maple wanted to do that, but I don't think he's on the same page as the rest of the team. It was almost so far forward. But Xenoflask will now have their own barrage of their own, and Cuddlesworth might try to find an angle. But has to be careful not to get punished. Seems like the reoccurring trend of Pharah's dying right after pressing Q. But Bubba finds a pick on the Maple. Starts off good for the defense.
It looks like they're going to try and make something happen with this one. Oh, D.Va eats the ult, but actually ends up plummeting off the cliff to do so. God mode, not quite landing it. Cuddlesworth does drop that barrage, though. Gets himself the D.Va at the very least. Deflect attempted to try and stop it, but it's not going to be enough, and Bubba going to clean this one up. That was rough all around, and a lot of resources actually being used here on the offense.
Well, for the next fight coming up, the defense will have info sight, so they'll know exactly where Mysca are going to be coming from. And sometimes you can come towards the right side and like almost come up from behind from the defense. But Xenoflask just ready on this high ground to see exactly where they're going to be coming from. Where only Mysca have they have Togs as Earth Shatter, but all the fun's happening on the high ground where his tubby self can't get.
Oh, blast, and Silverdale just drops as well to Bubba. Bubba's just been having a real good time of it so far on this Widowmaker, and it feels like the moment the map goes Widowmaker-centric, Xenoflask have the advantage here. Bubba's been doing so good on this hero and continues to do so. And like you mentioned, this Reinhardt's having such a tough time. Has to push through the low ground, but pushing through that low ground just sets you up really nicely for Pharah, for example, to shut you down, sets you up for a couple of other kills, just to sort of drop on top of you here. So Mr. has to go all the way around, will start pushing the point on his own, but they need something to happen now. They're all split up, and this could go very badly. Please enjoy game. DMX very early.
Yeah, this Brigitte is going to get punished. Mistrum not following the rest of the team, and please enjoy game losing mech as well. So this was a weird push from Mysca, sort of miscommunicating Togs wanting to go right, and that seemed like a good push. Reinhardt wants to stay on that low ground, wants to brawl with his Brigitte, but you can't be away from your Brigitte if you want that to happen. But Xenoflask will now have stacked 5 ultimates, but Mysca at least have a Dragon Blade, but they'll have to worry about Panda's Transcendence coming up.
Yeah, they need to really force that one out, set Maple up with a win, but the big issue they've been having is they've just been splitting apart. This is a textbook lesson, ladies and gentlemen, in why this team comp is played, why the Winston and D.Va are so vital here. Silverdale goes for the res, again, knocked away from it, can't get it done, it gets taken down, cleaned up by Apathy once more. And they're just so agile, they're so nimble, they're so mobile. Xenoflask can just reposition constantly, and the moment Team Mysca make a decision on where they go, Xenoflask is there ready and waiting for them. Bubba in a spot of trouble, but as the rest of the team there peeling for him, Maple gets deleted out of the sky, and that's the end of that push once again. Xenoflask looking solid here on Gibraltar.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this Reinhardt, if they're not going to run a Zarya or even at least a Lucio to make them really aggressive, because Xenoflask can just hop away as soon as they get into any trouble. And now Inforesight will be available in 10%, and they still stack their 4 ultimates, mainly 2 support ultimates, and you can tell Panda's just waiting for the blade from Maple. He always sits on it for a very long time and waits for the perfect opportunity, but kind of gets picked before he can use it.
And Maple just goes in on his own, tries to fight the Pharah in the sky, just gets picked off. And again, it's just blowing things wide open. Barrage gets dropped because why not? You have all the advantages. They're using a couple of resources for it, but they still got plenty in the back pocket. And crucially, they're going to have Infrasight available for this last push. D.Va Bomb gets launched over to the enemy spawn as well. Maple tries to Dragon Blade just to get to the point, but it's just not going to be enough here. Xenoflask managing to hold out here on second. Can anyone even touch the point? I don't think they can. No, they cannot. So Xenoflask set the golden parking space to 2. I think it was about halfway across the bridge, to be fair. But that's still going to be a big task. Now then, we have seen that Team Mysca, though, no slouches on the defense. Can they do this again? Can they do a full hold?
Well, Mysca managed to push, or sorry.
Yes, Mysca managed to push quite far. They managed to push well.
Okay. I didn't mix it up. Okay, well, Xenoflask, all they have to do is get to there and even up the series. So the win condition is there. Can they make it is the question, and I believe in the dream.
I'm genuinely curious because Team Mysca has been playing so well on these defenses. It's been so difficult to sort of crack that nut, and it's tough. Like, highest point Iconvol, this is where holds can happen. Like, this is a difficult point to push through. That being said, Cuddlesworth has been playing phenomenally. Bubba has been playing phenomenally. Widowmaker's a little bit quiet on this first point, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them maybe try and run a Hanzo instead, but that Pharah could be decisive here. So I'm hoping they run the Pharah comp. It looks like they're just messing around in spawn for now, so we'll ignore the shenanigans happening. I don't see the Bastion rolling out this time, although it's not impossible, but very risky is what I would say. I wouldn't count on it. On this defense, no shock to see Pharah, Hanzo being combined with that Rein Zarya.
Attackers
Maple on the Pharah. I'm excited to see that, like, him versus Cuddlesworth, where I'm starting to lean more towards Cuddlesworth being the better Pharah in this case, but would have liked to maybe see a stronger hit scan to go up against Pharah. Not saying that Hanzo isn't strong, obviously he's overpowered as hell right now, but to go up against a Pharah, like a McCree could hit the shots, just might be more effective in that way. But Xenoflask, what are they leaving the doors with? I hope, yeah, turret's going on that Mercy. Okay, this is normal. Why they always gotta debate me until the door's open? But this is normal.
They love messing with casters. Trust me, every player loves messing with the casters and making them wander. But otherwise, Bubba does take an early hit here, but will be running out on that hand. So I like it for first point here. You can sort of try and control that bridge, especially if your Pharah is dominating in the skies. But like we mentioned, Cuddlesworth has... no, this does set you up quite nicely, because Cuddlesworth has been that stronger Pharah overall, so this should give Bubba an opening maybe to start pushing forward a little bit. As they have managed to make it through the first choke point, now the question is, can they get around this tower, as it's been a little bit bloodless so far. Teams just raining rockets into each other. Cuddlesworth seems to be getting the better of it just a little bit as he continues to rain down on Togs.
Oh, Togs is pretty low. His shield's getting low. Apathy is low. It's a battle of who can take out their main tank, but it's actually Cuddlesworth that loses that fight to Mistrum. Gets resurrected, so it's only Mysca who really down a player. So Xenoflask going to keep engaging, but then they lose their Zarya. So equal numbers, 5 versus 5. But Cuddlesworth hasn't been really contested here by Maple, so he's getting free rockets into the backline.
Silverdale actually didn't go for the reso. It looks like it was requested as well. Please enjoy game. Swaps onto the Diva. The ref's trying to absorb some of this as Cuddlesworth just launches that Pharah to the moon. She's gone to Horizon Lunar Colony. Who knew her jump jets were that strong? As now battle has been joined on the point. Valkyrie's being used from both sides, but please enjoy game. Just smashes Cuddlesworth out of the sky. That's it on the ground. Returning down there. Panda finds Togs, gets rid of the kill there, and now please enjoy game. Does dive in, does get rid of one at the very least, but has to be so careful. Does get DMAC. Dragon Strike comes through and even committing the Transcendence to this one, but it's going to be rough, especially as Cuddlesworth does try and get himself at least one kill. Gets rid of Silverdale. Maple with the retaliation gets himself the Reinhardt and gets a lot of damage on the rest of the team. This looks like it actually might be going Team Mysca's way. Looked rough for a moment there, but the ultimates do pan out in their favor.
That was super weird. I thought Xenoflask was going to win that. Then he had the Dragon Strike from Mistrum that came out, and then he had the Barrage also that eventually cut down Apathy. And then reinforcements coming in from Mysca, and they somehow held that, and not even a tick for Xenoflask, which is very surprising. But at least Xenoflask were just a little bit better at economizing their ultimates, so they'll have just slightly more Earth Shatter and Dragon Strike, unless they want to wait 30% for the Graviton. But they'll need to win this convincingly. Yeah,
we need Togs to find this shatter. Bubba finds himself an early kill on Mistronimus at the very least, so that's going to start this push rolling forward. The question is, can they find the res? And as Maple drops out of the sky as well, Cuddlesworth gets the advantage there. You see Togs is on the back foot, drops the hammer, manages to get God mode at the very least, so it looks like they will just focus him down. Panda a little bit late on the Transcendence to save that Zarya, but they might be able to cover it if the res is available. Looks like it is, but they're going to back off as the Diva Bomb does sort of zone everybody away, just buys them a moment of breathing room, but it definitely feels like it's all in Xenoflask's favor at the moment.
Chase these supports that are so exposed. Like the supports of Mysca are just right out in the open, like kill me please, and they're able to just get away. Like it took Apathy so long to get that guy. And okay, Earth Shatter does start things off, and it's Cuddlesworth, Apathy, everybody going off for Xenoflask. Can they actually win this? It's taken forever.
Xenoflask, yeah, they are just going to be cleaning this one up now. Cuddlesworth finishes things up on the kill feed there. I just also witnessed, I don't know if, because, you know, the physics models aren't universal across everyone, but I just saw Mercy very slowly slide down the rooftop as well. It was quite amusing, but there we go. Payload does flip and will open things up. Meanwhile, we do actually have a Graviton Surge available as well to God mode, so he will have that resource in his back pocket. Dragon Strike available as well to round the combo out. They got to get to the front of the bridge, so 2-ish, maybe 3 team fights to win for them to advance this one forward as the gates open, and we start Eichenwald second proper. Ooh, maybe.
Graviton Dragon Strike will be available for Xenoflask, but if Mysca are going to stay on this high ground, it might be tough to land that one. They might have to try and bait them downwards. And there's the barrage from Maple. Oh my god, he found some... Well, I thought he was going to find that other kill onto the Zarya, but gets punished for it.
It looks like it was just enough at the very least to put him on the back foot. You got to be so careful when going through doorways. Pharahs like to hang out above them and just drop down and ace someone immediately with a rocket barrage to the back. At least it wasn't a complete disaster. They do manage to stay alive and can just start pushing again pretty quickly after burning that resource. The question is now, can they find this Graviton Surge? We need God mode to find a target to even hit with them. With the Diva floating around as well, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Silverdale in his sights at the moment, but not finding anything just yet. Manages to spot out a couple of people, does get 2 at the very least. Dragon Strike goes through it. Transcendence being used to counter as healing comes through. Dragon's coming out from both sides. We have sort of the full genome exposed. We have helixes everywhere as they start running forward. Apathy, though, with a huge Earth Shatter. Just scoops up everyone, literally deposited in front of him, and there's the cleanup. This payload's going to keep rolling.
Well, after a pretty good investment of ultimates from Xenoflask, including the Graviton Dragon Strike, that actually didn't end up doing much because of the Transcendence from Mysca. They still end up winning that fight, and Mysca now have to switch to some very mobile heroes to see if they can touch one last time. Togs will be there, and 30% away from the Primal. This will be important to maybe knock some people into the pits of death.
I like Mr. Anonymous' positioning here. He's on the high ground. He's looking to just sort of disorient the Fire, but Colosworth is there just dealing with him as well. Valkyrie's deposited for both sides. Everyone has that little bit of extra healing and that little bit of extra support as Togs drops very early. Colosworth brings down the barrage, though, and there's nothing there to really stop him until Diva finally gets into position. Mercy does actually shut him down. It's a very effective use of the Valkyrie just to sort of blow someone's head off. Trust me, it works pretty nicely, but it's not going to be enough here as Blue is crawling all over the payload. Togs tries to jump in, but there we go. We are going the distance. We are going the full length of the best of 5. Everything to play for, 1 map to go, and it's Team Mysca's map choice.
Wow, and yeah, I think I mentioned Apathy at the start. I think would have been a big winning condition of using that Primal to try and clear space around the payload, but then he died at like 80% Primal, and that's when things started to crumble. But ooh, this play of the game though, Graviton plus Hammer equals death.
Yeah, sometimes it's all you need, right? It's why Ryan Zarya is a good combo. Aside from all the other sort of great reasons to run that, you have that sort of massive advantage of just being able to deposit the Reinhardt in there. If they don't have support ults able to counteract it and any sort of extra healing to stop that damage, Reinhardt's just going to kill everybody. Because they're all bunched up nicely for that rocket hammer to swing through, and it's oh so satisfying as well when you hear all the thunks as you just swing for the fences, basically. But like we mentioned, Team Mysca with a map choice. I think, if I remember correctly, they have a choice of control maps, but they cannot pick Lijiang Tower again for obvious reasons. So Ilios seems... I think it's just Ilios left, actually.
Or is there any map, or is it... Well, at least we know it's control, so we'll see.
We will see. Indeed, Team Mysca looked really dominant on Lijiang Tower earlier. This definitely seems to... So it sort of swings to their favor, right? It feels like, again, once fights sort of start breaking apart, if they manage to break apart the enemy team's cohesion, they really seem to have a good time with it. Meanwhile, Xenoflask seem a little bit more planning, a little bit more prepared. They need to be that little bit more sort of, oh, we need a solid engagement against a solid engagement. Once Team Mysca forces that apart, forces things into chaos, it's anarchy, and they love it, and they relish it, and they end up winning those fights. So... going to be interesting to see where that goes.
I just favor Mysca a little bit more on control maps, not only because of map 1, but their overall history in the tournament. They seem stronger on control maps, so they get to pick their best map. I don't know if we can replay Lijiang twice. I think that's a meme, so maybe another one. Yeah,
Lijiang was offered up first, but I don't think they can pick Lijiang again according to the rules, so we'll just, the admins will sort that one out. This is why, I've mentioned this before, but casters are not admins. We don't do that, and I've had to do it I think once in the past, and it was a nightmare of playing admin and caster at the same time, and it was just no, because you want to focus on casting, but then like a rules dispute happens and you got to step in on that, and then ew, it's gross. It's gross. Anyway, right. Well, they get sorted out. It's gone the distance. This tournament's been a long one, but it's rounded out with some fantastic games. And, like, you couldn't ask for more between these two teams as well. They have been so strong throughout. This is where endurance will actually matter, though. Like, in this final map, everything's to play for, and you've been playing all day. That's actually going to take its tally. Looks like control options are Nepal or Ilios, and Nepal was the map picked. I kind of like that one because, if you think of Ilios, you think of Ruins straight away, and you think of Widowmaker. Bubba has been dominant on that Widow. And so moving away from a map where Widowmaker is dominant really does seem to be the good decision here for Team Mysca.
I want to see what kind of stuff might come out on Village, too. Like, you always see some Reaper, Triple Tank, May, Doomfist. You can literally see anything on Village. And I loved Bubba's Reaper back on Anubis. Can't remember if anybody played Reaper on Mysca. Maybe Maple, but I can't wait for the Reaper play. Something different than Dive Pharah. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if they opt for those May strats. Like they can work, but sometimes I've noticed like the better teams tend to just play Pharah and just stay 3 miles away and just sort of the Pharah just pokes around the back and just starts firing rockets in, and you generally run a Roadhog with that comp, and if the Roadhog misses the hook, the Pharah has free range, and from there it starts snowballing out of control. So it is viable, and I remember watching, I think it was Hurricane, like when they were playing these tankier comps as well. One thing I liked with Hurricane, and like a really nice refinement, if you are going to run these tanky comps, is just staying out of line of sight when the map opens for about 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then engaging on the point when the point actually opens. You know, I really like that. Yeah, they stayed out of line of sight, meant the enemy couldn't poke them at all, and then just sprinted straight on the point with a speed boost when the counter was at like 5-10 seconds. So it's like, you don't have that long period of time where you're not getting any progress, and you still have all the advantages of playing tank comp. The only downside is I think teams are getting better at using Concussive Blast to disrupt speed boost, and so that could be a big threat if you are going to be trying that one. But assemble your heroes is rolling through. I'm seeing Maple and Mist go straight for the Pharah and the Hanzo. Question is, will their counterparts run a mirror comp, or will they run something similar to what they're hovering now? Cuddlesworth loves the spawn Torbjorn. He must be the kind of guy in ranked that just like picks Torbjorn at first and waits for someone to go, please no, pick Torbjorn, and then swaps to something more sensible. Looks like,
yeah, just waits for someone to tilt super hard and then swaps. Oh my god, I'm that person who tilts. I was like, what are you playing? Unfortunately, we're not going to see anything too special in terms of, I wanted to see a Reaper or a Mei or Doomfist. Nope, we got triple tank from Mysca with the Hanzo. Xenoflask coming in with 2-2, and a McCree and a Fair this time, so not being too predictable, but Bubba will be able to maybe have a easier time going up against, the Fair's gone. Maple's now a Reaper.
Yeah, last minute swaps. Confusion strategy reigns as they just run straight on the point. Maple managing to occupy that close corner as well. The question is now, can they survive the onslaught from that front line? If they engage directly, it can be very, very difficult, but if that Pharah can find an angle, it can be very hard. But you can see how low the hit points are on Xenoflask. They're just getting slowly whittled down. They're over-engaging a little bit into this Reaper, and it's working out for this team so far. They've made their way into the point. Cuddlesworth having a bit of a hard time finding an angle past that barrier. You need to go around the other side, mate. There's a great big opening back there that you can put rockets through. But he just looks a little bit timid at the moment. They asked them to muscle the way onto the point, but honestly, Team Mysca, they can just let them do this and then just wait for a time to spring back.
Ooh, but that pick on the Targ is definitely going to open things up, and even onto an off-tank, so, oh my god, that barrage from Cuddlesworth. Not going to be able to res that one with, of course, no mercy, and that's sort of the downside of playing what Mysca did. But they built themselves up to 25%, turtling onto the point and keeping their backline pretty protected. Kind of surprised that worked out for Xenoflask when they just kept engaging the same entry point and not having as much damage coming in as Mysca. Is interesting that it turned out that way.
Yeah, I mean, this is sometimes where you see the Mei, and Mist has picked Mei for the strat. Work, Mist. What are you up to? I don't know. But he's running this Mei. We'll see how this one works. It's going to be an odd one. Like, you can isolate the Reinhardt with it. You can really set something up. But Bubba with a Deadeye early onto that Lucio will shut that one down. And Cuddlesworth a kill onto Maple. And I think this push is going nowhere as Xenoflask continue to accrue their advantage.
Yeah, Togs kind of got to the point, but was missing a 404 era team to keep engaging on that one. But nice Deadeye from Bubba that really stalled the rest of Mysca trying to come in. But I like this Mei pick just because once you do establish yourself on the point, you can wall people off from and split people, like either supports away from the team or split people like one person away from the rest of the team and get a pick that way. So if they can make this work, but they actually have to go to the point for that.
Yeah, they had to sort of make it there and survive and build that up. Looks like they opted against it. Yeah, they swapped to the Genji instead. Mist has actually gone straight to the point as well and is flipping it steadily. So they have just muscled the way there. This is sort of what you see Tracers doing quite a lot, is they'll just go straight to the point and try and bait other people into it. Maple blows himself up though. Mist managed to get one kill onto God mode, but honestly the kills are all going the way of Xenoflask. So a little bit of percentage point was built up there by Team Mysca, but with splitting the team, of course, there is the disadvantage of having, well, a split team. And, well, to Xenoflask, if you win the fight, you don't really have to care too much about the point.
And this is a pretty big advantage for Xenoflask score-wise, and Mysca had actually favored them coming into this one. Having at least a sound barrier might start off, but not if they walk into a Graviton, and Luca actually not deciding to use a sound barrier. They're just going to take that L and go back to spawn.
Yeah, it's, you know, once that Reinhardt especially started getting up close and personal with the Graviton Surge, then it's all going to work out for them. Bubba has Deadeye available. They also have the Barrage in their back pocket, and with no support ult except for Sound Barrier to try and cancel this out, it's going to be tough. Maple swapping to the Tracer as well just to make sure they can get to the point. They're going to engage using that Sound Barrier, and they're just going to start rolling onto the point, but they just got to wait for that Sound Barrier to sort of roll out. Bubba gets a kill. They flip it, but honestly, they're fish in a barrel at the moment. Apathy's found himself one kill there, and I'm just waiting for Cuddlesworth to drop this barrage. There it is. There's the double kill, and that should be enough to sweep this point clean. Xenoflask will flip it right back, and the overtime wick will burn down.
Wow, that's a pretty surprising start. 102-47 for Xenoflask, and they didn't even need to switch their comm. Mysca were experimenting with Maze, with Pharahs, with Reapers, a little bit of everything, and not finding much of a solution to their problem.
I mean, like, the thing with the Maze, like, you've got to isolate that Reinhardt. Like, that's where she really excels, is trapping Reinhardt, saying, oh, Ryan, you stepped one step too far forward, have a wall behind you, and now we're going to charge you into it and smash you to pieces. But if they don't get that, and you can't get Mei to the point as well against a Pharmacy, well, Xenoflask can just say, oh, you're playing Mei, we're just going to keep our distance, you know, just stay back a little bit, spam down onto you, and get those kills. So then, looks like a couple of changes coming up. Mr. playing that McCree at the moment. Surprised to see him not opt for the Hanzo. Maybe, again, he just wants to play something a little bit different and just change things up a little bit, but could end up hurting them. Nope, there goes the Brigitte. I like this a lot more.
I would have liked it even more with the Lucio, though. Just to speed boost these guys around instead of a Zenyatta or a Mercy. But I like it. Mysca getting right onto the point, getting down and dirty, and Xenoflask just relying on Apathy to hold that left click, especially when a Brigitte is going to be coming around, or a Winston. But Apathy now is cornered, and he advanced without the rest of his team, and he gets picked.
Yeah, missed, kind of baited him out there. Went for a charge on Apathy. Apathy thought, oh, well, you missed your charge, I'm going to try and punish you. And starts chasing Mr. around, but with triple supports, the healing is just there for them. Like, he's just going to top off, no problem whatsoever. Gets picked back up, and then they just end up punishing Apathy for, again, setting 1 foot wrong. Meanwhile, we had a Pharah duel in the skies, but if you win that fight on the ground decisively, it makes all the difference. That said, please no game. Stuck outside in Baby Diva form. Like, if they engage quickly, they could really punish this.
Okay, actually should be able to farm it back.
There we go.
Let's
Couple
get
of
the mech
headshots.
back. Yeah, Xenoflask now moving forward, though. And Apathy needs to kind of make sure that this team are following up, and if they disengage, they have to disengage together, because then you're just feeding in that case. But Apathy looking for an opportunity. Needs to be careful of where that Brigitte is. Now looking on the right side, but Cuddlesworth tried to go around the right, but then got met with a Diva.
Yeah, Please Enjoy again just went for it, and I like seeing this play out of Divas. It's very effective to shut down Pharahs, especially if they don't have that Mercy with them 100% of the time. They're just going to be a little bit vulnerable to a Diva rush down. Bomb does get dropped, but that's more just a cycle on the mechas. It looks like Xenoflask want to take another bite of the cherry here. They have Graviton Surge in their back pocket. They could try and get something done with this combo as they do start advancing to the point. There goes the Graviton Surge. Barrage just being used to try and counter it, but with ults, just support ults coming out of both sides, barely anybody dies. Please Enjoy game does shut down Cuddlesworth at the end of the day, and that's just going to be enough. There's just the rally, the trance, the Mercy Valkyrie overpowering all that damage and providing them with a very, very solid teamfight victory.
Please, Blizzard, I hope that 3 support ultimates can burn through 1 Dragon Strike and out-heal that, but that was kind of a big investment. If maybe they could have just risk the retake, but 3 support ultimates out for that seems like a big investment for me. But Bubba now on the McCree, and he wants to try and deal with Maple, who maybe can open an entryway for Cuddlesworth. But now reaching that 90% mark, Xenoflask haven't touched a point. We could be very easily going to map 3.
Oh, Tox just going super aggressive as well. Dives Panda with Luke and Rico spamming in from the back lines, helping out where possible. Please no game actually in a lot of trouble as well as the Res does come through. Does use the Diva Bomb just to cycle. It gets Panda after Res as well. So no more Zenyatta involved in this fight. Bo with some beautiful shots onto Maple. Will slow that one down. Even gets a headshot onto Tox just to round things out. Almost has a Deadeye for himself, but gets shut down by the Luke and Rico, who's on the wrong side of the map, but does still find those kills. Tox, though, will bounce his way out. They know that 99% to 0, so it's just a matter of stalling this one out, building up the ult charge where they can, and then getting ready for the next fight. They need to win one of these, and Team Mysca will be back in the game. We'll be going the full possible distance of this tournament.
This will be the first time we see Panda on Lucio. He usually plays Zenyatta for Xenoflask, and I think this would be quite a good pick to try and speed boost these guys around the point and match that aggression from Mysca, where Graviton and Deadeye available for Xenoflask. Actually, early Deadeye from Bubba just to zone these guys off. Maybe could pick off Maple, and he does!
It's such a big pick as well. Like, Maple's been providing so much damage. They do at least get the res on him, but Maple stuck inside. Just Bubba set up once again, lands the shots and gets the kill. This is what you can't do this with McCree. You can't give him space because it's just like playing against a Widow at mid-range. He's just going to land those shots. It's easy to get 3 body shots onto someone when they're that near you and just takes them down. So Bubba coming up big there. Zoning Deadeye was an interesting choice, but at least they have the barrage available to them with the Graviton Surge. Just a lot of support ults, though, coming up on the side of Team Mysca, and they're going to have that rally for that extra 100 hit points.
I also have a Transcendence once that Graviton does get launched for God Mode. I hope that Luca realize he wants to hold that.
There it is.
He does get trapped into it. Do they use it? Yes, he does, but barrage from both sides. Cuddlesworth gets an extra 2 kills out of that. But Xenoflask is still engaging now, just have to deal with the Primal Rage onto the point, causing trouble. But they've built themselves up to almost 65%, so this is now a winnable situation for Xenoflask.
Sound Barrier does get used just to close out this fight as well. Togs still keeping this fight alive. Diva1 goes in, gets rid of Panda, and they might want to keep this one going. Actually, these supports winning out at the end of the day. Despite the barrage combo paying dividends, it's still not going to be quite enough to shut down Team Mysca. They've extended the fight a little bit longer. Maybe Xenoflask just underestimated things. A beautiful Earthshatter gets 5, but doesn't crucially get the 6th. That gets 4 rather missed. And the Tracer, Maple, managing to secure the kill there. And now, well, Xenoflask just mobbing the way onto the point, but they're running into a Brigitte, they're running into a Winston, they're running into a Diva, and we are going the distance. We are 1-1 here. We are 1 round left. Sanctum will be the map that will decide this entire tournament.
I like that res from Mysca, or I think her name's Silver. That actually
Silver Doll,
ended
yes.
up, yeah, Silver something, yeah. Was able to get Mysca the number advantage in the later parts of that fight, and especially having someone like Togs who leads the charges for Mysca, and that honestly came so close between the two teams. I honestly didn't know who was going to take it. Like you said, Sanctum will decide the winner of this grand finals between the two teams, and after being down 2-1, Xenoflask have a very real possibility of turning this around.
Looks like they want to play sort of mostly the Overwatch League special, but with a Pharah instead of the Junkrat. The Junkrat serves a very important purpose in the Overwatch League team comp, so I don't think Pharah can quite deliver the same, sort of controlling that high ground, I say high ground, but higher ground area and controlling that space as much as possible. That said, looks like the Brigitte comp running out for Team Mysca as Bubba just opens things up with a shot across the bow, takes Maple down. They will be rezzed, but they are all bundled up as they do try and approach the point and are just getting spammed to high heaven from multiple angles.
Yeah, and pillar control clearly going to Xenoflask's favor with that Overwatch League special, as you like to call it. And Mysca just looking for an opportunity aware of diving, and they're actually coming up from behind and now securing the kills that they need. And not only that, cornering the players from Xenoflask that are onto the point, which is only Apathy and a Mercy, which I don't know how Tur is surviving. Okay, no longer surviving, as Mysca take the first point.
So this is the issue with that Pharah, right? Even though she can do a lot of spam if they try and move in through main, the Junkrat controls that high ground space. It stops this exact situation from happening where this close range team comp goes through that area, runs around the bag, and just gets straight onto their reset and starts picking people off. You need that Junkrat to control that and to stop that from happening. If you don't have that, well, then this is what ends up as the result. Now then, it's going to be a tall order as this team does like playing these close range fights. Although Team Mysca seem to be playing quite far back, actually. They're letting the enemy team get quite a lot of ground. As Please Enjoy Game does jump in, does start shutting down Cuddlesworth as best as possible. Fighting, breaking out all over the place. Maple getting a good angle, but just eats a right click from God Mode, and that's going to shut that down. But the rally is there, and the res just to sort of get them back to full strength.
And Mysca haven't let any room for Bubba to breathe. Whenever they see Bubba, they just dive him immediately. But now Bubba's getting really good cover from not only the shield, but the Roadhog. Ooh, self-destruct right behind.
So
yes,
good.
Gets the 2. Exactly what Mysca needed. Should be able to reach 65%. What are Xenoflask going to do? Clearly, this Widow isn't having an impact. And Cuddlesworth needs to find room if he wants to perform.
Please Enjoy Game is clearly the wages of someone who has spent time in sort of, on their own practicing these Diva bombs, because that was placed so precisely to be able to catch the people hiding in that little sort of high ground space, and then able to catch everyone out in sort of the main area. It dropped exactly where it needed to be, and it feels like he aimed that one spot on. So then, Xenoflask need a huge push coming out. They do have the barrage of their own to maybe scoop up a couple of kills, but with Luke and Rico able to use that Transcendence in any moment now, and Valkyrie just going to provide all that healing as it is deployed on both sides, it's going to be difficult to do. There goes the barrage. Manages to catch Silverdale with it, and even manages to stay alive with the support of that Mercy. Slowly but surely, they're managing to do this one. Transcendence is being used from both sides. It's just going to slow down the fight a little bit as it is joined on the point.
Still winnable here for Mysca. Yes, they lost 2 supports, but that Transcendence was huge to keep them up for now. And now they're replying with kills. Unfortunately, Maple kind of kills himself, but they have ultimately won this fight. And 96% God Mode is the only answer. Bubba now is back with the Tracer after getting picked first as the Widow, something that has not been working for Xenoflask. But Mysca have one last hurrah. Just have to get rid of Bubba. The self-destruct will be game over. And Mysca about 100-0 Xenoflask.
Oh my god, Panda just the only breath left. Maple, though, gets to clean up kills. We have the Desperation Doomfist for all of 2 seconds. Overtime Whip burns down, and there we go. Team Mysca managing to take the tournament after a very long series. They brought it all the way back. Beautiful play out of this team overall, though. And just phenomenally done. Luke Enrico scoops up player of the game there on that Zenyatta. It's always nice to see a support pop up. Let's see what he managed to do this one. A couple of spicy shots. Oh, please land a headshot. Please. Oh, I was hoping he'd land it there, but instead, oh, it's just look at this.
That's insane.
All the
kept
ults.
everybody alive. To be fair, there was also, I think, a rally and a Valkyrie in that.
There was a rally, there was a Valkyrie, there was an enemy transcendence, there was every single ult and the kitchen sink. It was nutty. That was one hell of a fight. Amazingly done by both teams, though. It's no surprise to see Xenoflask go so far. They played phenomenally well. I think Cullsworth, at least for me, Cullsworth is the MVP on that team. His Pharah was dominant and oppressive for most of those games. Bubba did a very good job on the Widowmaker, and I know it's easy to highlight DPS players, but it really did feel like Xenoflask playing extremely well with those players.
And I want to highlight Please Enjoy game, especially on Sanctum. The whole reason I think Xenoflask's pushes were lacking was due to Bubba not being enabled by the rest of his team, and also that he was getting dove by Please Enjoy game every single time. The only time Bubba was ever safe was when he was playing directly behind his team, but that's not going to do much when you're going against Winston Shields and just tanks in your face. So and Please Enjoy game has had some very nice self-destructs, and overall has been performing very well for Mysca.
Yeah, it's just some great games between teams. Also, teams complementing each other. Team Mysca highlighting that, hey, Bubba, your Widowmaker was exceptional, and I heartily agree. Every time Xenoflask took it to the Widowmaker maps, you just saw Bubba turn up. He just locked and loaded, no problem. Bish bash bosh, snipe, everyone's dead. Good stuff.